Hey, this is Lesli Sanders from Prophets of Addiction, and I'm on Talking About Rock.
Okay, today we have for you the West Coast-based glam punk and rollers, Prophets of Addiction. They've released the new music video for the track Slipping Away from the latest album, Face the Music. Joining us now, let's welcome Lesli Sanders. Lesli, how are you, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. So tell us a little bit about this latest track, Slipping Away, something that was really close to you, and really, I think, right?
Yeah, well, originally, Glenn and myself, we worked on the music. We got this together, and it was a song, and we actually started the song, a while back before, I think. I mean, it was a long time ago we started the music for it originally, and then when we got ready to record this record, we decided to work on it. And then during the meantime of that, my father had passed away, and it just seemed like the perfect song to write about that experience. The song, the music, musically it fit what I thought I could come up with lyrically for it, and basically that's what I did. After I was pretty much with him for side by side with him for like a year or so as he battled the cancer, and these were kind of my thoughts, and some of the things in the song reflect that. These are some of my thoughts that I had during that time period, and some things that we did together. And we sat around and did a lot of talking and stuff like that. So because we would just get out of the house and drive around. He couldn't do too much, so we would drive around in the car and do stuff like that. So
right. Such a great track, and obviously our condolences for your loss there, definitely.
And thank you.
And so when you guys actually started this project out in 2011, you guys did Babylon Boulevard was the first release. Can you tell us kind of the process of starting this project out and putting the band together a little bit?
Yeah, well, I had moved back up. I lived in Hollywood for basically 18 years, except for like 1 year. The band had moved. The whole band, we moved back up to Seattle at one point that I was in. And then, anyways, I went back to LA, and I came back up to LA and basically got sober. Came back up here, got sober, and then, I was starting to help my parents a lot and stuff, and kind of started hanging around them more as I got sober, and built up my relationship with my dad, and we kind of became friends. But anyway, so before that, I kind of just was going to jam with some guys, and as usual, I was like coming up with song ideas, and I was kind of just doing it for fun, for something to keep busy, and then we recorded that first record. That's how that kind of happened. It wasn't even really planned to go any further than where it was. I had the thoughts at first that if once I got sober, I could probably never write a song again. So I didn't know what was going to happen. But I think at the end of the day, I think I did some of my best work now since I have been sober, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. And on that first album there, you also had an old friend of yours from what I was reading here, CC DeVille from Poison.
That was on the second record, actually.
Oh, on the second one? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So he guested on that for you, which was really cool, yeah.
Yeah. And he told me at one point, too, he goes, when I was trying to get sober, I talked to him, I came up to he put me on the list for a Poison show up here in Washington, and I saw him, he's like, you stay sober, and, we're going to do something one day together. So I don't know if that was the one thing, or, I haven't heard from him lately. So, I didn't know if he meant us doing actually a band together, or what he meant, but at least, if nothing else, we did do something together, and that's what he did, I offered to pay him. He didn't want no money. He just came up and came to the studio at the time we recorded at Soussan's house in the Hollywood Hills. So CC drove up from Orange County or wherever he was and came and did that. So that was cool.
Yeah, definitely very cool. And obviously, the world's kind of still trying to figure out what's going on with Poison, right? There's been stuff going back and forth the internet all the time, Right. So I guess we'll have to stay tuned and see what happens with that for sure.
Yeah.
But another legendary player you got on here, and you just mentioned his name, Phil Sassoon. How did that collaboration start out with? Obviously,
I just kind of
with Ozzy and Billy Idol.
Yeah, like back in the days, I just kind of met Phil. I was a kid and I moved to Hollywood. And I was just outside. I was outside the Rainbow and stuff. Hey, there's that guy from Ozzy. Maybe he was. I don't remember if he was still in Ozzy at the time or what. And that's kind of how I first met him. I just started kind of bugging him, and somehow we'd see him and we'd talk, and then him and Randy Castillo, they decided at one point they wanted to start producing bands and stuff. So they approached me, hey, we think your band's cool. We want to do this. So Phil recorded I had that band called City Girls Boys. Phil recorded that. And then, I just kind of was friends with him. It was kind of funny. We both have like the same birthday. He's older than me, but it's the same day, June 23rd. And we just became friends like that. I talk to him all the time. Now I talk to him all the time on the phone and everything. I stay at his house when we're down there recording sometimes. So we've been friends for a long time. It's probably 30 years now. Yeah. So whenever I do stuff, I trust Phil and I trust what he's going to do, and I know he's got our best interest in mind. He's not just trying to push us in and out and collect some money from me.
Right.
And he pushes me. He pushes me, and he'll literally say, "Hey, that sucks. Try that again."
Right. Well,
all right. Which I want the people to go, "Oh, sounds great," and then later you're like, "Oh my god, that's terrible."
Yeah, and you spent some time with some other legendary players here, Marky Ramone and Phil Lewis from LA Guns as well.
Yeah, Phil Lewis was doing some solo stuff at one point with him and Muscat, so I played some shows with them, and Marky needed a bass player, some tours. I played bass on that, and I just I never tried too much to play with a bunch of other people really, but I did those. I kind of always enjoyed writing songs and doing my own thing.
Yeah, and they're kind of describing what you got going on here. It's kind of a mix. Like some of it's like maybe GNR or Ramones or Hanoi Rocks or New York Dolls. It's kind of a mix of some of that, of all that, really.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of how my songwriting's always been. And like, even with different bands and stuff, like, for example, the other band, City Girls Boys, we would tour and play shows with like LA Guns and bands like that. And then we would go on tour. Like Dee Dee Ramone wanted us to play all the shows with him towards the end. I think we played like the last 10 shows or something he played. And so he really liked it. And our music would come across and it would be good with that type of punk band. But then also we could go and play New Year's Eve with LA Guns and Circus of Power or whatever, the Troubadour, and people liked us there too. So it kind of crossed over between kind of the glammy rock and kind of the punk stuff, but obviously it can't be the certain kind of glammy rock and it can't be the other heavier kind of punk because then it don't fit. But that kind of, and that a lot of the English punk we would fit more with them, not the Southern California, the hardcore punk. Obviously we don't fit with that, but
Yeah, definitely. And you brought up Troubadour, so that harkens back to all those glory days, like Gazzari's back in the day, right, and all those different clubs. That we used to have out there, which was outstanding. It seems that it's really hard now. There's not as many rock clubs as there used to be, and it's so difficult. I know for you guys to just to tour, it's immensely expensive, right?
We've been looking for shows and we've been doing stuff, and one thing I'm not going to do is just go. I used to just go around the country and we'd play all these shows. I'd book tours like 72 dates in like 65 days, and I'm just not going to do that anymore. We want to get on a good tour. We want to play some good stuff. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. We had some stuff booked this year, and we had something booked, and that's just not going to happen now. It's just, there's just a lot of circumstances, broken promises, exaggerations, etc. It's like we're not getting on a plane and flying to England for, because just wasn't what we were looking for,
Right. I know a lot of people are
just not looking to. It has to be good though,
Yeah.
And in the lineup, we need to find if we can't get the right people to play that want to tour. I'm not going to do that either, because what's fun for me is sounding super good and being really good, and what's fun for other people sometimes is something different. They say I try to ruin the fun because I want to sound good. I don't want someone all wasted. So if they want to get all wasted, I'd rather not be there.
Yeah, you definitely don't need that, right? I mean,
Right now, at this age, especially.
Yeah, I mean, the deal is now, right? You want to put on the best performers because that's where you guys are making the money when you're doing your shows and you're doing your tours. You know,
well, I know what it should sound like, and I know what it's capable of sounding like. And if it doesn't, then it's just not. It doesn't feel good. You know, if you're trying to capture a feeling, trying to create this thing, and it doesn't sound like that, then what's the point of being there? I mean,
yeah,
a sports team doesn't show up on purpose to lose. You know?
right. That's a good analogy.
You know, they want to be the best they can be. If they lose, they lose. But at least you go into the situation thinking you're the best prepared and you're going to win. And that's what I want to do. I want to have that feeling every time. If something goes wrong on the stage, someone breaks a good string, whatever, you know, that happens. But if you just go up there and you just suck because you're unprepared and you don't give a shit, then I don't want that.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Yeah, and it really amazes me some of the stuff that's gone on over the last year or two with some of the bands who don't play live or play the tracks or have all these different things. You know, I guess there's times when you need some of that depending on what's the background of it, you know what I mean? But I think the live experience is something, you know, that people still cherish, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's just weird. It's just weird to see that, and some of the demographic of people, they're accepting of that. They're like, fine. They're like, I don't have a problem with that. You know, I'm old school. I want to see the music live. You know?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to, in the perfect world, if I could, I'd want to have one of those bands with like 12 people in there, where you got a real piano player, a real keyboard player, and you got players. You know, I would rather do that than have play two tracks anytime. But you know, those people want money, so a lot of those bands are probably, well, we can't do that. We'll just put these tracks on. But I think that also tracks, even in all they sound good, but you're stuck. You have to play the song a certain length. You can't extend a section. You can't vibe off it. You can't feel what it's supposed to feel like. You're trapped. I mean, unless you turn them off, but I don't like that either. I like this. If the crowd's going crazy in a part, I want to hold that part longer, you know, and just, you gotta have the players where we just come back into the song right when you know, count it off or so. All right, we're gonna start this again and go right back into it.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to think about it for sure. A lot of flexibility and stuff. So tell us a little bit about some of the other folks you got in here. Start with we got Wayne Stokely on drums here.
Yeah, Wayne. You see, that was the thing. Wayne was supposed to do this a long time ago. And then he had his health situation that he has going on now. And so, you know, he had to stop. And at one point, he didn't know if he was ever going to even be able to play drums again and stuff. And, you know, he can't see. I mean, I guess he's legally blind. He can see a little bit, but not very good. And, you know, then so it's me and then Wayne and Tchad. And, I mean, that's kind of the foundation of it. Phil helped play on the record. And, you know, maybe he would play if we played a show. He might play bass or whatever if we played a show in Vegas where it was like a guest appearance. But he's not going to tour and stuff. And, you know, I played bass always before, but I got to the point now where I'd rather get a bass player because then we could have a better bass line and I could sing better also. And if I had to play some guitar, I'd play some guitar or whatever else. But that's kind of the core, the three of us. And, Glenn, he was in there, and he seems like he doesn't want to play. He's a kid now and stuff, so I'm not really sure. Last I spoke to him, he's not really interested in playing. So people lose interest, and I get it because it's a little reward sometimes for a lot of work, you know. But you know, it'd be one thing if you were making Guns N' Roses money or something. People would probably, oh yeah, sure, I'll go on tour.
Right. It's right. You're not booking a ton of stuff, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So we're gonna have, like I said, if we can find the right tours and shows, then I'll just have to find some people that play the songs.
Right. Yeah. Well,
otherwise I can just keep recording music and making videos and doing that, and I won't play.
Right. That's another way to go about it too. You know, and some bands are definitely doing that at this point, right? You know, they'll just put out songs and they'll do, and you got to have a video still. You know, I don't think some people don't think that's the case. I think you still do. I think you still need to have at least one or two videos for some of the stuff you're doing, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess, you know, I mean that's the other thing is I'm not so into those making all those silly reels and stuff for Facebook where I'm, just acting like a fool.
Right.
Crazy sticking out my tongue and stuff. I'm just not really into that. So, that's not going to help because people they want you to do all that stuff nowadays.
Right. Yeah, it's all about social media advertising. Definitely at this point, but
I'm 57 years old. I'm not going to be making videos of me sticking my tongue out and screaming and yelling and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it gets a little crazy at that point.
Yeah.
Well, you definitely got some great tracks. I really like what you got going on so far, man. So, best of luck with the new songs and the new tracks, and hopefully we'll see some dates coming up from you guys. That would be
we got some new songs that are being recorded right now too. So I got to get back down to Vegas to finish those up with Phil, and we'll have another, I don't know, 6 songs or something recorded. So
all right, cool. We'll definitely look out for those. All right, cool. So Lesli, thank you so much for being with us today. Really appreciate it.
And thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, so that wraps up this episode of Talking About Rock. Thank you to my guest today, Lesli Sanders from Prophets of Addiction. And to our audience out there, we hope you're doing your part by keeping the torch alive and supporting live music wherever you are. Lesli, again, man, thanks.
Thank you.